Sometimes I feel amazed. I ain't luck, ain't nothing, ain't no such thing as luck. But sometimes I wake up and like, damn, and these like people ain't do half the shit I done did. Like him right here, Rondell Arnett, Shank. I know one who killed him. Man, Nikki know the lady that was going with him. His son is doing time right now, but I know who killed him. I know him too, but he ain't dead. He just got his tombstone. I never got out of that slump. Some days I'll be like, I wish I ain't wake up. As soon as I touched that fucking heroin, it went downhill, dog. That shit went downhill. It's fucked up. That's why I just want to get the fuck out of here. So I ain't gotta even think about it. But now it's everywhere. I lived in Oklahoma, shit was there. I lived in Boca Raton, Florida, shit was there. I lived in fucking Texas, the shit was there. Everywhere I've been, the shit was there. From rural to city, the shit's always around. If it's not there, you can make a phone call and it can be there. Everybody I deal with is doing something negative that pulls me back into this shit, man. And right now I need time away from this shit. A long vacation.
My name is Hasan Oswald, and I'm director of Higher Love, which is making its world premiere at 5:30 this evening here at Slamdance.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This film is very interesting and very poignant. You're following really two people in this pursuit and an interesting, there's just this swell of interesting people that they run across and really the pursuit of, you're trying to tell something about society, but the real pursuit is the true love that these two people have for one another. Talk a little bit about how you got involved with them and how you came across them and why you decided to tell the story the way you did.
Sure. So it began as a kind of a portrait of post-industrial decline in America. We went to these cities and we started in Flint, and it's just this Americana life. It's the loss of the American dream. And so we started the film kind of following that. So we started with 8 portraits, 8 vignettes, and pretty, right off the bat we found Daryl, and we're like, okay, this is the one we're going to run with. And actually how I met Daryl was I had been filming with a group of 4 people who were suffering from addiction, and we were in a motel, and Nani, who you'll meet in the film, she was pregnant at the time, and I received a very angry phone call from who I would later meet as Daryl, saying, what are you doing? What gives you the right to tell this story? You're not from this city. I don't want my girlfriend's story out there. And then maybe 48 hours later, I received another phone call. He was calmed down and he said, all right, let me tell you my side of the story. So that's kind of how we approached it. We kind of categorize these big issues, gun control, the opioid epidemic, as something that, that's their problem. That's this hellscape of Camden. It's this hellscape of post-industrial America. And I thought that I should give them a voice. Mm-hmm. So it's pure verite. There's no sit-down interviews. There's no politics. There's no policy wonks. There's nothing. So I thought that I should give them agency in telling their own stories. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of a fly on the wall for 2.5 years on and off, and the title Higher Love comes from, so originally it was a story, as I said, about post-industrial decline, mm-hmm. but 2 months into filming we saw that it's a story about addiction and love, and not just opioid addiction and not just drug addiction in general. It's about as you'll see in the film, Daryl has his vices and Daryl has his addictions. One of them is love. And Nani has her addictions very clearly, mm-hmm. and Nani has her vices, but she also struggles with balancing this. She wants to be a mother. She wants to just love on this beautiful baby boy as much as any other mother would, but she just cannot quit this addiction. So mm-hmm. it's kind of the title Higher Love is, what are we choosing? Daryl has to make a choice between the well-being of his son, the future of his son, the future of his heart, the future of his, what's going on in the film is driving him insane. He suffers from terrible anxiety, terrible depression, and he turns to alcohol and his own vices, as I mentioned. And so it's kind of, what are we reaching for as far as looking for love? And Nani,
how far we go.
And Nani tends to go toward the chemical side. And so it's kind of a battle of, will they come back to this love in the classic sense of family and son. And
sounds like to me, in looking at the film and having seen it, that the duality was very important to you, telling both sides of the story. Talk about that and how you balance that, because there's times when he goes days without knowing what's going on.
And that was really tricky. So as I mentioned, I started filming with the group. So Nani, Iman, so Iman's the kingpin and kind of supports them all through drug dealing and prostitution, unfortunately. And so I started with them, and it was going to be that side of the story. And then when Daryl came and said, let me show you my side of the story, that was kind of the start of this really solid thread where the film went. But at the same time, it's kind of this ethics of access and ethics of, so for example, I'd be with Nani in the first scene in the motel, which is it was the hardest edit, but we knew that was our scene to start. So and that was the first time we had really filmed with the group of addicts. And Daryl, who approached me very angrily, but later on he would approach me and be like, do you know where they are? Can you help? And I would say, I can't tell you where she is. Yes, I'm with her. Yes, she's okay. But I need to tell her story from...
What a burden. That's so tough.
Yes. And so the first question actually yesterday in a pre-panel was, one of the members was a bit, not upset, but she was emotional about why I didn't do anything when she was injecting when she was pregnant. And it wasn't, that was kind of a question I had to ask myself right away. Will I step in when bad things are happening? And I chose not to. And so I had that access and I was able to do that duality because I was honest to the process. And I told Daryl right off the bat, I can't tell you where Nani is. And I told Nani off the bat, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to step in when you're doing things that are obviously very harmful to the baby. And I'm also not going to tell Daryl where you are, so that's everything you tell me is between me, and my camera. But we built a trust through that kind of, she knew I wasn't telling him, he knew I wasn't telling her. But yes, it was very tricky kind of keeping that relationship when one of them is, desperately looking for and trying to save his baby, and I know most of the time where she was and what she was doing.
Do you feel like that was why the honesty rings so true in this film? I mean, it's so honest, it's so earnest. It really speaks to the idea that they did develop a trust for you, and they were very open and started to talk. And they, right off the bat, she just starts giving you information, and so you feel like if you had kind of stepped in, that wouldn't be there?
100%. If I had made my presence as kind of and first of all, I'm an outsider in that community. My dad's originally from the community. He grew up there, and they left with the rest of the Italians in the 60s. Factories closed, white flight. So while I do have a background in the community, I am an outsider. And they embraced me 100%, but at the same time, I was the white cameraman in a group of Latino and Black characters suffering from addiction. So they embraced me, and they let me tell their story. But at the same time, like that trust had to be built. It had to be built, and when they would come to me with their problems, and maybe I could help them with addiction, and maybe I could reach out to their family member, their estranged family member, they saw me as kind of a pathway. So the question is, why are they filming with you? Why did they agree to give you this incredibly intimate access and let you be a fly on the wall in their life for 2.5 years. And I always say, well, they want to tell their story.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is, why is a drug dealer talking to me? Why is he incriminating himself? Why? And it's giving, this film gave them agency, finally, in some sense, to tell why they ended up in the gutter. And from a big picture, it's Camden telling a story of what happened to this.
Yeah.
And so our opening clip is with Opie and Anthony ripping them apart. Camden, this fucking shithole.
Yeah.
And so that's how we start, and then we give them agency to say what happened.
Yeah.
What happened in this post-industrial decline, and big picture and little picture, what happened, how did I end up the way I am?
So as a documentarian who is now delved into a very, very deep subject matter and kind of gotten into that mind frame, do you feel like you're more apt to tell these kind of stories later, and for more projects down the road, or do you feel like, this really affected you in such a way that you're going to walk away from kind of doing something like this again?
So there's a great quote. It's from a war journalist. I'm going to butcher the quote, and I don't know who said it, but it's, "We are the stories we tell." And so this was my first film. And directorial debut, but also film debut. I have a background. I've only been in films in 2016 was my first official foray into film, and so this film really, really affected me.
Yeah,
and
it's hard not to.
Yeah, I took on a lot, and there's scenes where, and it'll be discussed in the panel later. I was left alone with Nani and the baby for days. And I had to make choices. Do you take the cigarettes out of the baby's mouth when Nani's nodding off and he's eating everything on the ground? There's a scene in the movie, you'll see there's boiling water, and a lot of people were really bothered by that
was
fact.
A tough scene.
Yeah, or just him climbing up the stairs,
Yeah.
and he's looking back to the camera,
Yeah.
and Nani's nodded out in the bathroom somewhere. So I developed an incredible love for Darnaz, of course, but also Nani and Daryl, and we all remain close. And I do 100% plan on telling similar stories. And right now, I just flew in from Iraq, and I'm telling a similar theme story of family members looking for their missing ISIS-captured loved ones.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a very similar fly on the wall type situation, and it's something that I deal with. I do believe that, as I said, you become the stories you tell.
Yeah.
But that's a very small price to pay for getting some kind of agency to them and getting some kind of voice for them to tell their own stories.
Nice. Let's turn to something happy and positive. To talk about your love for indie film, what do you love about being an indie filmmaker? What is it that really gravitate for you?
Yeah, so in general, as I mentioned, I was an English teacher until very recently. I love that we live in a technological time, but also an indie film era that you can go on. I went on YouTube and learned learned everything on YouTube.
Nice.
No one would hire me as an English teacher with zero experience. I went to the...
Don't feel bad. Lots of us have a lot of
Yes.
experience and don't get hired. So.
Yes. And it turned out to be a blessing that no one would hire me. And I would send out thousands of emails, like I'll be a coffee runner, I'll do anything.
Right.
And then I just went out and I bought a camera. I couldn't afford to go to film school, and I wouldn't have gotten in anyways. And so to make this film, I just bought a camera, went to Camden, New Jersey, because it was cheap enough to drive from New York City that I didn't have, my expenses were zero to shoot this. And so we live in a time where I could go on YouTube, learn what the fucking f-stop is. I could learn, like, you'll see in the film.
Depth of field.
Yeah, depth of field. You'll see in the film, there are so many, and people pointed out, like, I love what you did with pulling focus.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Or like, we have an amazing mixer, Tristan, at Gigantic, and he had a task cleaning out my audio. I didn't understand peaking. Alex, my producer over there, was like, it's not supposed to go in the red. I was like, oh, like, I didn't understand that. And so I came back with all this, garbage stuff that they made an amazing product at the end. But we live now where anybody can be a filmmaker, and it's, it speaks to Slamdance. Slamdance gave me a chance to come and, show this film to the world, and not a lot of people or festivals or organizations gave me that chance. Slamdance gave me that chance, and
do you feel a bit of vindication because filmmakers have kind of, because this is a filmmaker-centric festival that they've accepted and embraced, that even though you have no background, that they really appreciated what you've done?
Yeah, vindication is like, it's an understatement. I feel like, so I do my films with, and I film with a huge chip on my shoulder, and I always say that, you know, if I ever win a big award, I'm going to go up and say, like, check your inboxes, because I emailed all of you guys to work for you, to be your coffee runner for the last 4 years. So, like, vindication is an understatement. Like, I'm so happy what they did for myself and filmmakers like myself, but I'll still carry that chip of no one gave me, or, you know, first-time filmmakers like me a chance, and Slamdance did.
I'm trying to find this girl. Have you seen her?
How long has she been missing?
About 4 days.
My father died with a needle in his arm, and my mom used to shoot powder, so it was in my genes to want to get high.
You would think they wouldn't sell to a pregnant person, but they don't have no heart, no compassion.
If I die, I die. I just don't want to go to hell.
It's dope city, man.
I don't think this is gonna be a happy ending.
I told him plenty of times, find somebody better than me. I'm not good for you. I'm poison for you.
Hey, baby. Is it good?
But he doesn't listen.
This is what the deal is. This is what you don't understand, and I'm tired of telling y'all this here. Your story could help the next person.
It is gonna help the whole
but it's not, because what you're doing, you got too much negativity.
I'm gonna keep on. And this time I mean it. If I don't make it, I'm gonna die this year.
You leave your baby in the car so you can go sell your ass and smoke crack.
I'm gonna be alive for that little boy, you know? He needs me.
Here's the thing, you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. You've got so much to offer, you still got your whole life in front of you.
I don't want to give up on her. How else can I say it? Sucks to love somebody that don't love themselves.